What does
I
being Palestinian mean to you guys? When I say you guys, I mean the Palestinians, of course.
so for me, it has been associated with the struggle for justice. That's what it has been associated with. But also, again, I go back to the connection to the land. There's that, and it's not about the land. It's a different thing. Perhaps we will talk about this later. But um, one thing I feel I identify in Palestinians in diaspora is their need to cultivate the land around them. So, like for example, my all of my uncles have their own houses, and they're like they're obsessed with having a garden and a producing garden, a garden that actually brings produce. Um, and I think that's part of their nostalgia for what their life has been or could have been like. And that's been my perception, being born and raised here to a Palestinian family. Um, but yeah, mostly right now I feel it's about the national aspiration, which I think came about as a reaction to the conflict, to how this whole thing started from the very beginning.
What
Kind of
Palestinian
reminds
means to
me.
me. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, what Palestinian means to me is being a part of a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, inclusive society that embraces uh, our multiculturalism, but at the same time, it's cultivating that culture on the back of having been demographically replaced or reversed and spread out into the diaspora. So, like a lot of our diaspora culture, I would presume anyway, would have been formed off the back of that, and that sort of has like obviously created some sort of need for diaspora Palestinians to reconnect and to figure out. So it's like trying to learn a culture that we've been sort of denied by the virtue of the history that has happened. And so I believe that we have a strong opportunity in this age and this time to come and form a strong foundation on what it means to be Palestinian and how that identity can coexist with our Jewish cousins who have the same right of self-determination that we do, and that we, would like to see in the near future, hopefully. Any of the other Palestinians?
Yeah, I like Omar wants to say something. Right?
It's fine. No, like if you're in the if you join the diaspora, especially here in the United States, like it's like because there's so much, I guess you can call it assimilative forces outside. You tend to you get very excited when you meet other Palestinians because they have some shared story, with you, and depending on where you live. Like originally, I'm from the South in the U.S., so um, because land and I guess closer knit families are more common in the South. You tend to retain that aspect, of it fits very well with Palestinian culture. So it's like I don't know how to explain it, but whether it's the food, how we talk, our mentality for better or for worse, it's all included in what it means to be Palestinian. So
Kama or
The
Amar?
Palestinian aspiration,
C- c-
for
uh,
self-determination.
hold on, Danny. I just want to give Amar and Karma the opportunity to respond to that question as well.
Karma, do you want to take the lead or do you want me? You go first, Amar.
I mean, what does it mean to me? I don't know. I grew up in a very like a clan, strong sense of like a clan, or a connection to sort of, you know, a particular village, a particular town, and then like an ancestry. And so there's a real sense of just like, I don't know, you're just like walking around a place that your father or your grandfather or your great grandfather literally built. So it's hard to explain. I mean, it's not the food, it's not the language. It's literally just the only place in the world that's home. You know, I'm overseas at the moment, and it's like the colors are different everywhere else. Like literally, the world is a different color. And yeah, I think it really is about a very profound connection to the land, and that defining your sense of self, which is, I think, a big part of the identity as well. Like it's a collectivist society. You're born and you know who you are. It's in your last name. It tells you, you know, your ancestry to some extent and your story. When you got there, when you left. For a lot of the Arab tribes, I mean, not very long ago, there was still like a Qaisi Yemeni conflict. You know, people, tribes, they still had rivalry based on their heritage from 800 BC, like literally whether they were, you know, from the Mustarab, like, or pure Arabs from Yemen, and they sort of carried that over. And then you have like a bit like the Houthis and other old families who weren't even necessarily ethnically Arab, who pick and could like literally pick a side, and have been there for like 1,000 years. So it's hard to explain. I mean, I remember being able to talk to my grandfather, tell him the name of anyone in town. He would tell me, and he knows where they're from and what their history is and what their dealings with them have been from. So, I mean, yeah, it's your whole sense of self. And then beyond that, I think Qadiyya and the struggle is a big part of what Palestinian means to a lot of people. I mean, that's what brought all these clans together who didn't necessarily all get along. There was a sense of unity. And one of the things I think Palestinians hate most is the inqisam, the factionalization that exists today. Because the strongest part of the identity is the sense of a shared struggle, as well as a shared sense of, you know, this is who we are because we're kind of in this together. That's the best way I can put it.